Swag on deck. Big swag on deck. Big swag on deck, son. Big swag on deck. Big swag on deck. Oh shit. Woo! Turn up. Turn up. I got the bowl packed with Keith. Packed with Keith and Lemon Cushington.
Thank you for joining us live right now. Everyone's lecture. And I'd like to bring forward
beautiful because I live in New York and at best the suburbs. So it's like all concrete and
Smoke the Cushington.
Thank you for this time to embody through your living story today.
It's different, but people
So-
Smoke the Cushington.
New York was my first time.
Woo! Smoke the Cushington. Gang shit.
It's cool though. It's very cool. Like, it's so
Mm.
different.
it's funny because I don't live in the city proper anymore.
Morning for me, the most important thing for all of us to realize is that
Shit monster, son.
impending energy
Too much. I go to the city all
of conflict in
Drink
the
Monster.
environments that none of us are victims, and I know
Fund the Jews and drink Monster.
all understand
the
that.
time on the train. We still live
But
close enough for a
truly,
commuter train. And they get there and as soon as the doors open up on the train.
Fund the Jews by drinking Monster.
Is this curriculum for growth?
Woo!
It's an invitation to the truth of who we really are. It's through the hardships that all growth.
Fund the Jewish commander.
These are choices that we
Fund
make
the Jewish commander.
for this lifetime.
Fund the Jewish commander.
Like that,
Whoop.
or not, we came with
So did you see a lot of
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Thank you.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I saw some. We saw some kind of far away.
Through this
The closest one we saw was when we were camping.
And when we're doing
It was,
this, we're
like,
not just
down
doing this for ourselves.
not
But
sleeping
for the
very well that
collective.
night because
As each of us
I feel like
releases
they're just so big.
any
Like the bird,
frequency
they call them brown
of
bears.
conflict
They're
with
all
us,
like grizzlies.
shift
They're like-
Fund the Jewish commander.
for the collective.
You.
And this is
Fund the Jewish commander. Swag, swag, swag.
as we learn our
Swag,
lessons,
swag, swag.
The black ones are big.
Swag.
Fast and they don't have like their
we
different,
choose to reframe our
up,
path. This now towards
Big swag man.
the sight of it. It's like the that's why it's like all the famous bear pictures of bear pictures.
Big swag boy.
There.
Big swag boy on deck.
There's no other people and there's campground there.
at this point in
And
time.
they're just walking around.
By doing this, we manifest our individual and collective
humans are dangerous.
future timelines that are our highest
You see more moose than anything, honestly.
And we all know that that is out of reach. We all know that she only chooses
Smoking that Cushington.
era.
Yeah, I think if you saw moose there, there's definitely a lot more moose people there. And there are actually more moose attacks than there's bear attacks there, so.
And we can
Smoke that Cushington Supremus. Pull up with my dog. Smoking Cushington Supremus. Pull up with my dog. Smoking Cushington Supremus. Cloak like Harry Potter out this bitch. I can cloak like Harry Potter. Swag. Swag. I got a big bag like I'm Carl Vibe with the lost gold.
City, man, and those metal detectors, it might as well be a lightsaber, a magic wand running around out there. Like, How exciting.
Pull out the lightsaber, son. Woo!
North of the Arctic Circle in the middle of nowhere land in Alaska. Tons of mosquitoes and lots of bears and a couple wolves around, and you know, you're just kind of
Cloak in the mothership, then pull out the lightsaber. Boom!
Frank was already a little older.
Maglev in the whip.
Probably 20 years older than me, at least. Maybe 30, because he's in his 80s now. And I'm in my 50s, so... you know, he had a lot of experience.
Maglev in the
You know,
whip.
he used to go out and go
Cloak
fishing
up.
and do salmon fishing up there as well, so... besides the gold thing, I got really excited about just hunting the gold, and, you know...
Maglev in the whip. Finna cloak up.
Mostly older, so Frank was probably in his, you know, at least his late 40s when we were going. And,
Maglev in the whip. Cloak
Cloak
up. Woo.
I'm 16 years old, so like 20 hours of metal detecting a day was like right up my alley. And, you know, after a while, it paid off, because I was able to pull
When I
off
turn this
some
metamaterial camo on, it makes you invisible.
successfully. Every year thereafter, for 15 years, we would go back to Alaska and continue hunting nuggets and dredging and just doing all kinds of crazy and fun stuff. But I amassed a lot of gold back then, and you know, when the shows came out about,
It's like, nah, I'm just playing. I wish I had a metamaterial cloak, bro. We gotta make one, bro. We gotta make one that looks like this, and then you can turn it on, and it makes you invisible.
before the show even started,
With the quantum, whatever it's called, quantum
shows and all that.
quantum
Yeah,
stealth.
seeing the gold that they're getting is flowery, little stuff that looks like sparkles, and I'm just laughing because I'm like, that ain't a gold.
Quantum Stealth by Hyper Stealth Biotechnology Corp in Canada.
You know, they weren't getting any nuggets, but I guess, you know, they were going after that fine flower stuff, and it's pretty incredible to have that start overall. And I was in construction most of my life, in the beginning half of my life, so it afforded me the money and the time, you know, to take off and go out and do these things with them. And over the years, it just kept evolving until I moved to Florida. I kind of semi-retired.
Sniping out the cloak.
Came down here and tried to figure out, okay, what am I going to do next? We were having a lot of sinkhole problems down here, so I decided, you know, that I would try
Sniping
to help
out the
these
cloak,
homeowners
son.
by detecting the sinkholes so that they wouldn't buy these houses and then basically be stuck holding the bag after the fact.
Sniping out the
So
Carl
I spent
Vibe
20
cloak.
years looking to, you know, try to fix this problem.
Now Carl Vibe can't see me.
Government and or the real estate agents to hire me to scan the properties with radar to make sure there was no sinkholes and it was safe for their clients. And that eventually did come into play.
Carl Vibe cloak activate.
But over the course of that time, using various pieces of equipment, the equipment for showing a void space and or showing
Carl Vibe cloak deactivate.
the color variations in the bands or the graphics were so close that you really couldn't tell them apart. So I worked with the manufacturers trying to tweak the software so it showed a true void, excuse me, as opposed to a water flow void. And in doing so, I knew the software pretty much better than most people at that point. So the company started farming me out to where people who bought radar equipment and or EM equipment to train them. And normally what would happen is people would come and buy a piece of equipment, get 2 hours of training, and then head off to some foreign country and try to use it. And 2 hours to maybe set up the equipment might be okay, but to use it is near impossible. So they would send me out to these locations to not only run the equipment, especially under the guise of teaching these people how to use it.
Alright, I'm gonna go back to doing Pavlov.
The guy that was going to use their equipment out.
Play Pav Z. Take the Cloakington, metamaterial Cloakington off. Then I'll put my invisible cloaking on with the commando cloak. Commando cloak activate. Psh. Commandos! Commando, quit operating in this vehicle area. Commando. Commandos, you must die. My own commandos must die. Commando! Commando! Sounds like the Uganda movie. Yo, yo, yo. Alright, bet. Alright, I'm in. Oh, fuck. Hell no. Fuck you. Oh, I'm in. He just drove off the motherfucking cliff. Nice move. 5 trillion IQ. 5 trillion IQ play, son. I need a fucking good gun. Niggas keep taking the rocket launcher. At least they shot the tank with it. I'm a commando in the cut with the perk 30 healing up. Commando in the cut with the perk 30 healing up. Woo, yeah. Pop the cocaine right quick. Inject that adrenaline. Inject that adrenaline, son. Smoke that Cushington. I'm a commando in the cut. I'm on the Matrix, son. I'm on the Matrix. Damn it, I should have aimed down sight. I was like no scoping. Alright, I'm gonna aim down sight now. I got the good high caliber AK. Commando! Commando! I got 2 commandos with 1 stone. Two commando with 1 stone, my brother. Two commando with 1 brother. Two commando. Ah, la, 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 la. La, 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 la. Oh, nice. Li, 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 li. Li, 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 li. Ah, la, 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 la. Al Jazeera Commando. Very good for the commander of Al Jazeera. I would make the commando of Al Jazeera proud with my RPG. What is this American launcher called? Oh shit, he had his hands up, but I blew him up into smithereens. Oh, I got the dude up there almost, dude. Commando in the cut, twisting up. Die, Commando. You must die, Commandos. I command you. Yes, I got him. Yes, dude, I got him. He was up top. Oh shit, you want a pill bottle? Here you go. You want the Pillington, son? Holy shit. That nigga hop skedaddle out of here, bruh. With the gravity cannons. Shoot the motherfucker up top right. And top middle. Commando in the cut. Commando in the cut. Ooh, I got one. Ah, man. I will make America proud, my brother. For Kazakhstan. For Tajikistan. For Taliban. For Taliban. Ah, man. At least I got a bunch of rounds off and killed some. Everybody get Commando RPG, my brother. Everybody buy the Commando. Hello, Commando. Any brother, Commando. Why you invade Kazakhstan? Kazakhstan main castle. They try to invade Kazakhstan main castle. #1 prime race detective castle. Kazakhstan U.S. Ministry of Culture will get you. Like Borat, my brother. We will launch rocket. Tajikistan. Stretchy ballsack killed me. Oh my god. Stretchy ballsack killed me. Everybody kill Stretchy ballsack. Alright. Damn, this is fucked. That guy needs to fucking die. Everybody shoot that guy. Tajikistan will get you, find you, my brother. Hello, Commando YouTube. Commando YouTube, we are on the battlefield. I need to learn how to do both feeds. Another webcam. HD. Ultra HD webcam for live stream. He died for commando. United States Commando Squad, move out. Damn it, this guy sniped me. I need to buy a sniper next time I die. I'll use this one. I gotta snipe that fucker. You will die for Turdstan. Turdistan. They die for Turdistan. They die for Uzbekistan. They die for a United States Commando. For El Chapo. Oh, nice jump, dude. That was dope. That was the commando move, son. This is the commando move right here. Holy shit. That was the commando move supremist, son. I'm flexing. What the fuck? Oh, that was an enemy. Good. Holy shit, man. I'm surprised I lived through that rocket. Damn, I got like no health, dude. Damn. That's the lowest I've ever seen health, I think. I lived through a rocket, son. I'm coming back to make a success story. Yes, got him. I'll tell that one to the grandchildren. The day I shot the man in the ass and killed him. Oh shit, I shot my own brother. Then my own brother shot me. Hello. Hey. What are you doing? What did it say? Oh! Do we then get killed by mashed potato? Kill the mashed potato. Yee! What the fuck? Why you kill me, mashed potato? Yeah, yeah. E. 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 Mesh Commando. Time to go all out warfare on these fuckers. All out commando warfare. Ah! 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 Get to the way. Get to the castle. Get to the castle. Get to the Count Chocula. Commando operation, commando. My brother, you need commando. What's just happening? It's just downloading custom map. Oh, weird. There we go. Get to the chopper! Connection off. Ooh, 103 Dome, that sounds fun. Get to the commando chopper. Get to the Arnold Mobile. Get to the chopper, commando.
And see what could be done with it from there, but just never got the opportunity.
So this was in, you said New Mexico?
It was in New Mexico.
And about what year was this? You were
This
working
was
on it?
about 2005 or 2006.
Get to the commando.
And it wasn't buried
So
in
you're-
like,
Get to the
like,
chopper.
or like
While you're looking at this, this one mantis with the chevrons
just laid down
qualification,
on a hillside.
how long
Yeah.
is
And
this
maybe there was-
lasting?
yeah,
Is this in
maybe
the
at one
blink
point
of
in
an
time
eye?
there was
You
more
looking
than-
at
Get
it?
to the chopper. Get to the
It
commando.
goes on for a good minute. Like,
It felt like I
how
was looking
long
at
does
it.
the experience last?
I felt like I was staring at it for like probably 30 seconds to a minute, if
Long
that.
enough for you to consciously go, what the hell is that?
Yeah, yeah, like I
Get
like,
to
I
the
did
private party
it,
to smoke
and
to
celebrate.
Washington.
That makes any sense. And then I got this feeling like kind of like the whole don't be afraid, and then I just fell asleep, and then I calmed down, and then I fell asleep. And I don't remember.
Get to
having
the chopper
sleep
for
at night, but,
Kazakhstan.
I was having these sleep paralysis things happening. So there was a point where it was almost every night, every other night, and a lot of them were demonic type things that. And then I developed this like fear of like gray aliens, and then to the point where
Hey,
I
we got
thought
this
about
shit.
the gray aliens, I was gonna get a dream
I'm joining
visitation.
the
is what I was
Sandbox
calling
GM
it, or
construct.
what I was calling it now. And like, oh, like I might have, I don't know what happened, but it was definitely like I couldn't see a
This
gray.
is like
Like,
Gary's
in the
mod
emoji
on
gray,
Pavlov. I
back
love
then,
it. I used to
where,
love
like,
Gary's mod. They should have VR support, dude. I gotta tell them.
Yeah.
Of the gray.
We gotta start telling people all my good ideas. They gotta do Far Cry 6 VR too. That shit would be fucking one of the most amazing games. It would be a AAA title.
Gray?
It was pretty incredible.
Besides
That would warrant that level of anxiety.
Not at that point. Like I hadn't seen like a gray like in real life until I was in junior high, so it was probably no, it's probably fifth or
Well,
sixth grade.
that's a lot of, that's old enough to be,
It was just incredible.
you know,
They
to
actually found
understand.
And the anomaly.
I need to add like VR.
We were in northern Arizona, and we were in Prescott. And if you go more north, that's kind of like the Travis Walton BS stuff that happened. Not BS, but like the craziness that happened with him. But this was kind of, yeah, Snowflake, yeah. And this is Prescott, so it's kind of like the beginning of northern Arizona if you're headed that way. And we rented a cabin there because my grandma loved the forest. Like if it were up to her, she would have had a cabin in the forest if she could have afforded it, you know? So I'm outside again looking at stars, and I see something moving in the tree line, which isn't that far, and this thing like pops its head out, and it's a gray.
Oh, this
And that
fucking
scared
one.
the shit out of me, because I had been having all these nightmares and sleep paralysis with grays in the dreams.
So it just popped its head out from behind a tree and saw you. Now I have to ask, because this is kind of deep. Did you, when looking in the eyes, did you feel any
Commando flex, commando flex, commando flex, commando.
I felt curious. It felt like it was curious, And then I got scared, and then it turned
Commando
into, then it like
flex,
morphed into a
commando.
little boy. But the little boy didn't look normal.
It
The little boy looked like a
shifted.
little, yeah, it shifted into a little boy.
And again, I have to ask, how long was this, did this take? Was it instantly? 3 seconds?
Commando
5
flex,
seconds?
commando flex,
I
commando.
was looking at it, it felt like I was looking at it for a while, and it was just standing there, like, kind of like. popping
Good
up
job,
and
commandos.
And then it kind of dawned. 'cause
Commando
I was trying to
roll
figure
out.
out what it was, and then you know in your head you're like, that's a gray, and then you're like, no, it's not. It's a deer. And then you're like, no. that's
Commandos
not. Like,
roll
like-
out.
And then I got scared, and then it was like just kidding, I'm a little boy, and then it morphed into this weird looking little boy, almost like those hybrid little boys. And like.
Where's the
strands.
Gunnington, son?
Like a black eye, like black eye.
Hey, let's follow this guy.
No, it was like.
He said he's gonna get a better gun. Where's
Where's
the better gun? Oh, there's a motherfucking wolf, bro.
It looked like that, and because the eyes were big, but it still had like, you know, like. it
Hey,
still
man, you
looked
shot
like
that elk wolf.
She's trying to make yourself hybrid.
Yeah.
Good shit,
I
son.
thought the little boy was blonde. I could tell it had big eyes.
Sound like a
but they
fucking
weren't
elk when you
eyes.
shot it.
And then it took off running.
Oh my goodness, it ran away. Were you
Oh,
alone?
wait, I gotta move my cursor. Here we go.
I was curious, I didn't see
Wow.
any ultraviolet.
Whoa, what's going on?
I figured that,
And it totally shapeshifted. Oh my god.
I mean, people are like, it could have been doing it to your.
What's good, huh? I hear a motherfucking antelope.
Like, maybe it didn't-
Oh, where'd my fucking desert eagle go? Shit.
Honestly, in the big scheme of things, like, I know it's a loaded question. I know there's no.
Yeah,
Fuck it, I'll use a sniper.
a lot of it, you know. I have woken up 3 times outside.
Damn, this is how you die in a motherfucking scary movie.
After having a sleep paralysis event with extraterrestrials in it, or
Hey, cover me, commando rolling in
whatever.
from the back.
So to me, like putting things together with the types of dreams I was having, sometimes they were just there and scary, and that's all I remember. And then other times it was like almost like damage control, like there would be like a light being that I thought was an angel, kind of.
All right, commando
and
squad.
After I had all these scary things happen, like a day later or 2 days later.
Commando
it's like,
squad.
like, I thought there were angels.
What the
Angels
hell?
would show up, you know.
This rain is like an invisible barrier.
Yes, and it was like always a sleep paralysis. Like I was trying to wake up and I couldn't.
Oh, they got weapons.
And, just these horrible feelings,
Nice.
like
Look at the
my muscles
MP5.
would like start kind of like. Have you ever put like an electrode on your skin?
I do think that's still
Yes,
around.
I mean, I
And
know,
it makes your
and
muscle-
I've experienced sleep paralysis
I mean,
actually
UMP
so
45.
regularly that I know how to actually to get through it.
Yeah, that was a
Not-
thing
not
though,
to-
like, yeah.
Not to deviate too much from your
Commando
story,
vibe.
but I've had so many experiences with sleep paralysis that now I know not to fight it, go back to sleep, and I'll wake up not paralyzed. Whereas
Right.
if my brain awakens and I can't move my body,
He said,
I'm
"You really
excited,
like commandos."
Eventually I'll kick out of it yelling or screaming or jumping. So
But when
Commando!
you think
I'm just
about
saying
that,
because it sounds funny.
Experienced lucid dreaming, but like the thing with the angel one,
I think that's still
the sleep paralysis, but that was not scary. And now that I'm thinking about it, they look like the light things people talk about. Because they didn't have wings, they just assumed they were angels because they seemed nice and loving and, you know, like happy. They made me feel happy and at peace, whereas the other ones made me feel like afraid and there was pain associated with it. And the normal sleep paralysis, I did realize, like you said, you can control it. There was times, though,
Commando!
where I couldn't do that.
I think it's because I saw that shit that Ugandan movie. It's like, Commando! Commando!
Or, you know, there's other, like,
It's so
other
funny.
things that now I'm thinking back
Ugandan
on
movie.
that were weird that would happen physically. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, I was taken on, or, you know, but
Right. So this is interesting, and I don't know if there's an
Also
easy
full
answer.
of giant
African special effects are the
You
best.
equate some of these extraterrestrials and paranormal experiences in your dreams. Is there a way for you
Uncle, Mama, Uganda,
to
Zimbabwe.
differentiate your normal dreams?
Uncle
Your average
Zimbabwe.
everyday Go to bed, wake up, have your dreams. From those dreams to these dreams, is there something more vivid about these dreams? Is it
I can't
these
control it.
physical illness afterwards? So you know that
I
was
know how to lucid dream. I know how to lucid dream. I can, in the
Where's the
lucid dream,
commando?
I've had
Holy fuck!
And I've had monster nightmares, a demon nightmare.
Commando!
When lucid dreams happen,
Commando!
I can always change it.
He was
I can always
commando!
wake up
Oh
and
my
change it,
God, what
stop
the
it, and with these scary aliens or gray dreams or demonic because the demons.
What
look
the
like a
fuck?
mix between gray and the typical demon crap you see on TV.
Right.
But
Hell no, bruh.
those ones I couldn't snap out of.
Fuck you,
You
Bigfoot.
know, talk like, like
You
pastors
motherfucker.
Go, oh, well, that's demonic
Holy
crap,"
shit.
Or there's people that think that the grays are demons. So like, it's
Right.
just-
Hey, Commando Bigfoot, eat
But
this.
I do remember sometimes feeling like some of the dreams.
Die,
were
motherfuckers.
Almost like a dentist, like, you know what I mean? So
Hey,
Yes.
that was the
Much
whole
more
reason.
vivid.
where you at, Bigfoot?
Physically vivid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill your ass.
You know what I mean? And that's the difference between like.
Yeah,
oh,
big
well, I
pussy.
did this. I was just like, well, yeah, I do too, but it's not. It's different. Like, I can't become lucid if I'm having one of these abduction scenario dreams. If that makes sense.
Yeah, son.
Yeah. You say you're good at lucid dreaming. Is that something you practiced, conscientiously tried to improve at, or is it something that you just have naturally? Like, can somebody get better at lucid dreaming?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was doing it on
don't
accident,
know.
kind of, I think, because of all the crazy dreams I was having. And then
I don't know how we're supposed to play this game.
So like, she really like.
Can we just post up or what?
Hear about your dreams, and it might have been like the whole like just
I don't know how to play it.
side of our family, Native Americans, pretty much all Native American. So
Shit, did I
there's
just
a lot
drop my
of
fucking gun?
place on your dreams, and but I just
Damn it.
remember being able to control them early on, and then also having like the ability
I bet.
to kind of like snap out of the sleep paralysis most of the time. Not most of the time, but when I knew it was.
Did they
wasn't
respawn
like a
back in or
monster
no?
around me, then I could
Oh,
snap
oh,
out
they
of
did?
it and become lucid dreaming and either change the dream or just wake up. But I have.
Yeah,
done-
how do we
as
get
the years
back
went
there?
on, I got better at it because I really wanted to know if I was actually having like an entity attack or.
Yo, is anyone else alive out there?
Versus like just a bad shitty
Just a
nightmare.
bad nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here's some people shooting.
Can I ask you,
Oh shit, I gotta get. Oh damn, I'm dead.
demonic. Is there something in these
Oh shit, you better run.
Is there some sort of communication between you and the entity? Is it
Mando Bigfoot pulled up,
the
son.
appearance of the entity? Why do you call some demonic and some not? What's the difference?
The
Commando
feeling,
big
the
shit.
there's like an evil, there's like a
Damn,
feeling
son,
of,
that shit's
like,
crazy. Look at that motherfucker.
like, you know,
So
but
this is
then,
ominous sort of intuition.
yeah, ominous.
Oh,
yeah,
dude, he's
like,
running towards the other dude. Holy
and like the
shit,
ones that I
dude.
think are more demonic
Oh my
are
gosh.
kind of like, they're trying to almost impersonate humans.
Oh shit, there's. Oh my god, there's two Bigfoots.
And they're
What the
trying
fuck?
to scare you, like they're trying to show you something horrible. They're trying
Damn,
to,
bro. Why do they make the Bigfoots invincible, bro?
When I was going to church, like they tell you, like, don't get involved with Jesus. Or whatever.
Need that
You know
nuking
what I
to
mean?
the fuck them up.
And then, yeah, and then there was a time where like there was like it would look like a gray, but not like a mean gray, like a real, not like the little cute ones, you know, like a mean, like they were mean. I don't know, they felt mean, and they, you know, and but the thing is now, like if, when I look back, whatever they're doing is just like they're just kind of like doing their job, which is kind of scary. Focusing, you know, like they're just, that's what
That's
they
been
do.
a recurring theme from a lot of experiencers. They just imply that these things, whatever they are, from the mantis to the greys to the all of them, they're all just like either worker bees or they have a job.
No?
I've heard that over and over again. You mentioned the word the cute ones, and I've heard that too. That they're almost some of the greys are almost childlike with their
Yeah.
curiosity.
Like the one that I saw in Prescott, like that one to me felt like it was scary because who wouldn't be afraid of seeing something like with your eyes
Where's
open?
that Bigfootington, son? We gotta
You know
get
what I mean?
this ET
Because some people
technology.
are like, oh, you were just dreaming. You were just
Bring it
dreaming.
back
You
to
were
Wright
just dreaming.
Patterson
You're like,
Air
I
Force
was just
Base,
dreaming. Like,
Ohio.
you want it to be a dream because it's terrifying. But then when you see like that, like this one just seemed like it was curious. It didn't seem like it was going to put me in sleep paralysis, like make me have like muscular pain and then wake up sick the next day. You
Flying
know what I
saucer
mean?
engine.
Yeah, and I've heard that before. Where like sometimes the greys will peek in over a window.
Yeah.
Or peek around a bed or something, and they don't seem threatening at all. Childlike curiosity. That's really interesting. So you have experiences in both sleep while you're sleeping and also awake. What do you have more of?
More of the sleep, more of like that in between sleep and awake. I've only had the two, like, physical, like, I know I was awake.
I like Priscilla from Quantum League. She's dope.
That's for
So you told us about the one in Prescott that popped up
Yeah.
on you from behind the tree. What was the other one?
The hologram.
Oh, the
The
hologram.
hologram. Yeah.
Wow.
And somebody told me that might have been it, kind of like coming through, just seems like super loud, but coming
She's
through.
gotta
the
run
kitchen.
faster than me.
And that's kind of like that in-between stage before it becomes physical.
Uh-huh.
So somebody had told me that is like some people think that, so it put me to sleep before it became physical. So that one I can't remember. Like I don't think I had any like dreams after that. Like that night, I don't think I had any dreams, and I would have to look at like my little like. So I try to write everything down, and I really don't. I think within the days before that and following that, I would have like these other dreams too. So always with angels, or at the time I thought they were demon alien looking things. And
Right. And you keep a dream journal?
not anymore. I know it's like kind of like when I help people with like, because I do help people like develop their lucid dreaming. So some of my witchy stuff I do, but I do when it's important. When it's like when I know that I have a message that is sent to me by like a spirit guide in my dreams, or if it is like a crazy, I don't write like this super scary like prey dreams down anymore, because they're kind of losing like the scare factor at this point. I will tell you, anytime that I have a gray dream, like an abduction scenario dream, or a gray next to the bed dream, I wake up sick.
Holy
Like,
fuck!
almost like I have a hangover.
This is
Like,
physical after.
I committed suicide.
And,
You mentioned spirit guide. You've had that happen in your dreams?
oh yeah.
Can you explain?
So the first spirit guide I had
Bigfoot was gonna kill me, so
a angel.
had to
I thought he was a
suicide.
nice guy. And I called him an angel. So like, you're growing up Catholic, everything's like an angel. In my house, it was an angel, a ghost,
George
or a demon.
Bushington.
So, everything
Smoking the
else
Cushington.
was weird because we were Catholic, and my grandma did all this weird,
Bussy.
she was a medium, so she knew there was other things, but she never talked to me about spirit guides or anything. But I had this angel that would kind of, I was having a tough time because my father was not very loving to my mom, so my grandparents raised me, and then she brought some other food in that was not very good either. So it would always come like around those
Smoking
times when I was
Cushington,
afraid.
riding like George
This guy would
Bushington,
show up.
with the Fleetington, motorcade
For the longest
Fleetington.
time, people are getting schizophrenic now, but people,
Like in your dreams or what?
no, this is in real life. Like a guy would come, and it's almost like when kids have imaginary friends.
Okay.
Where everybody's like, that's your imaginary friend. Like, he doesn't exist. I was like, no, he's an angel, and his name's Michael. And they're like, even my grandma's the only one that gave it up because it was obviously St. Michael, or Archangel Michael, right? So
Right.
I wasn't even thinking that at the time. I just knew he was an angel, his name was Michael, and he would come around when I was afraid. So that was kind of like the first, and I just ended up
Make
kind
Danelle
of saying like,
know.
oh, he's probably just a spirit guide. And then other times they would come through as like, to me, like the good alien types.
Car War.
It was a source of comfort.
Yeah. So psychologically, it could have been a defense mechanism, right? So in either way, it was a nice.
Car War, Commando War.
There you go. So,
No.
and I've never
Activate.
been on antipsychotics or diagnosed with anything like that. So.
Right. No, you seem really sensible. Yeah. And your vivid recall of these experiences. So how often does this happen to you? I mean, this happens so regularly.
Commando War.
Weird question.
Commando War, flexing
Since
war.
you were a child,
We're gonna flex harder with them. We gotta pick up all the Roxy Code on 30 bottles, and we gotta steal their Roxy Code on 30 bottles.
It's
It
been
kind of slowed down. It slowed down a lot. Like when I left Alaska, I had this crazy, like, astral travel experience, and all the scary ones kind of, like, stopped for a
All right,
moment.
we're gonna do the sniperington
And,
on
like,
them, boys.
The entity attack, the demonic.
We're gonna shoot them with the sniper all at
The
once.
sleep paralysis.
And one of us
all
is
of it
bound to
went
hit
away,
him.
and then if I would have, like, a bad dream after that, it was almost just, like...
There's one. Oh, he just dropped down to the fucking third.
Lucid in it,
third floor.
going off. Like, there was one, for example, after that
Yeah.
experience, I had, like, and before I left Alaska, I saw, like orbs, like this big orb. Just one
Holy
orb, I thought
shit,
it was
dude.
a full moon, but then I opened my eyes and it wasn't the full moon. Because why would a full moon?
That dude got fucked up, dude. Watch out, he's a gravity cannon. Holy fuck, you got a rocket, rocket launcher and a gravity
And I
cannon, son.
remember, but after that
Just like the
experience, I had
ET.
another experience.
Holy shit, it's Squidward. Fuck you, Squidward and Santa Claus. Oh, fuck.
Like they stopped and then they still kind of happen, but not as back to back, and they don't really have that kind of like super like power over me.
Okay.
There has been a couple this past year.
That's hilarious. I just saw Squidward and Santa Claus. I've never seen those skins. Yesterday, I saw for the first time
There was a couple that
the Master Chief Halo skin. Saw some dude as Master Chief. And I see Squidward
I mean, who are you
and
gonna tell
fucking
this anyway?
Santa Claus. I remember Santa
It
Claus
did happen.
on
I had,
Christmas.
I had one pretty much right after the night that I had.
I wonder how they became that. That's funny.
I had a super
Oh,
scary
wow. That's
And then-
interesting. I think that's
Jimmy-
a coincidence.
Commander Squad. Hey, hey, Squidward. Hey, look.
talking about
Hey,
him.
Squidward, look.
And what she was talking about.
Squidward.
I felt like I was getting punched in the stomach quite a few times because she was talking about all this
Oh, shit.
hybridization time. on
Fuck, I just punched a cat with my fucking microphone with that soft cover on it. Commando Squad, you must die. Good job, Santa Claus.
To vividly
Okay,
recall-
Squidward. Oh, fuck, goddamn, my controller went to the left and made it fall.
Oh,
I was retarded.
It really is.
And you know what gives it so much credibility for the non-believers?
I'm gonna get my RPG out, the extra ammo. Now I got 11 rockets. Let's go up and do this. I got 11 rockets, son. I'm gonna pull out the Strappington and do the
Oh
Maximusington.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely lovely.
I'm gonna do the Maximusington.
I am just dumbstruck every time
I got
hear her
20
talk,
rockets.
which is fairly
Yeah.
quickly, because she's been around.
I got one.
Yeah, she's very open with her experiences.
Just
I'm gonna do the Maximusington.
Geraldine Orozco.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Attention. Yeah, really with even hybrid phenomenon. Just
She can give you these like bullet points, and that's what kind of was like, holy crap. Like, some of the stuff that's happened to her has happened to me. She's laying out my timeline without her knowing my story.
right, and you're the day before you're right about to talk to her, or the day after, or something.
That night,
then
yeah.
you have that experience. Wow. Wow.
And,
That's
and I
incredible.
told friends, you know, and they're like, oh, well, you were just dreaming.
So tomorrow you're having
Maximusington.
I am, yeah.
That's another big gun. Are you excited? Like,
I'm
congratulations.
super.
Alright, where's the SpongeBob's fucking,
I think he was gonna say yes, honestly, because I'm like, there's still.
I wanna see the Squidward skin.
Isn't it great when you get the big guns and they say yes? I was like,
Yeah, it
We need to
was,
make the commander
It's
skin.
just like when we even on book
Make it
club,
a Zimbabwe commander.
yeah.
Down to Knuckles' face.
Even when Graham said yes, and I think I had met
You have
Graham
no idea
before
what I'm saying?
on Instagram. Like,
You think I'm speaking Chinese, senor?
I don't even met him before that.
Holy
I was like,
shit.
oh, yes, you know, like,
Yeah.
so I'm still surprised when people say yes because I'm not expecting. But I
Very
really
nice,
want
very
others.
nice, yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, it's cool. I got an email from Richard Jolin, and I was like, oh, shit. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just an email. I don't know, I'm a supporter of this channel, like, you know, one of those members, like, send a couple of bucks every month.
Rocket jump fail,
And I
bro.
got an email from him, and I'm like, holy shit, he knows my name is Spaghetti Lee, how stupid a name. Richard Jolin.
It's rememberable.
That's great, but, Hal Harris, man, that's his,
I see Squidward. Kill Squidward.
what time is it on?
Upper right tower. Kill Squidward.
Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Trying to snipe him with a rocket.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on. I'll probably have to catch
So
it.
close.
I just talked to her today, so it's good to go. I was so nervous. She texted me today, and I was like, oh, she's gonna cancel.
Now she'll know Italian, by the way. She'll know Italian.
I know she was in Italy. That's why when I was
That would've killed him right there.
I don't even know where she is right now, you know. So no, she's in the States.
Got him.
So
Oh, I'm gonna get the
yeah, so
Squidward
when she
now.
texted
Come
me, I
on.
was like, oh my god.
She's got a ton.
So close.
Oh yes, paved the way. She paved the way for women. My goodness, and then she, her and Jock did the work.
Yes!
together.
Oh, so close. Come on. It was right on his head, dude. I don't know how to
Trinity
get
is
him.
what we're reading now for this month's book.
Yo, yo, yo.
Amazing. I read it last year when it came out, but
What the fuck? You just killed me, fucking idiot.
yeah, they co-authored it because she did.
You're
she
fucking
did all
dead,
the
motherfucker.
work, and then Jock comes in and is like, "Wow, did you do this?" He gets all the
Kill
technicalities.
that motherfucker.
Like there's a part, one of the interviews she did, she was like, well, I told Jock, I interviewed these people, and he's like, well, ask them how many wheels were on the truck they saw, and how long was it, and all this, like, he's a scientist.
No, I don't wanna
and
fucking
really-
play.
They complement each other very well in
No, I
the
don't wanna
research
play.
that they did for Trinity.
No.
They really do.
You know, you're Jewish.
Let me ask you, just out of curiosity.
Good.
Pertaining to Paola Harris. I think everybody has, so I have, there are things, phenomena within, say, the community, within
Jewish
the
machine gun dealers
that some I can believe
are boss.
and some I have a very hard time.
That's where I got my own
Some I
for.
just, some of it I get. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you, what's the question? I should be better at asking this question. When somebody is saying something to you in an interview situation like this, just as from one host to another, forget the fact that people are
I want to make a machine gun shop like Dragon Man.
Handle situations where somebody is saying such a story that you just find it really hard to believe.
Dragon Man, the supreme Jewish machine gun
You know what I
overlord.
do is I find myself sitting there with my mouth open, like, is this really happening? Is this really?
Yeah.
And Paola Harris has done some of that stuff with like ET hybrid stuff, and
Yeah.
I mean, she's done terrific work. She definitely goes down the rabbit hole that I don't know if I want to go down. I don't know if there's a question there. There's more of a commentary, but so how do you handle it when somebody's saying something that you have a hard time digesting? Not that you've done anything my view. But it seems like sometimes
Yes, I took out the tank.
show up into the community and they're saying things and it's a hard time going, yeah, dude,
Well, I listen to everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I try to believe everybody, but like the only red flag that I get is when people are like, so we've got this person channeling Pleiadians and we've got this other person channeling Pleiadians, and they're both saying different things, and they're both giving different dates of these things that are supposed to happen and they don't happen. You know what happened?
And they never do.
Yeah. And I kind of was like, I used to believe a lot more of that until I saw a lot of people in the whole light worker community. The year of COVID.
Dude, I'm hitting them all, dude. I'm fucking them up, dude. Fuck yeah.
In either 2021 or 2020. And it didn't happen. And so many people I know in
Yes.
the light worker community shattered. Like there's a guy I know that I was just like, dude, like he's changed. He's like, yeah, well, if they let this not happen, like that kind of like people's lives. When people are making predictions with dates and stuff like that, and Jock talks about it in the Messengers of Deception,
Right.
I do kind of like pull away.
Kill Squidward.
Space for them. But I don't
Shoot his big head.
anymore because there's a difference. And to me, like if I can tell somebody's kind of like lying, I pull away. Because the thing is, I'm not lying, and I know people that aren't lying. Some scary shit's happened to us. So for you to sit here, and then maybe they did get the message, and that's what Jock talks about in Messenger of Deception.
Oh, so close. Oh my god. Yo, hit Squidward right in the head, dude. The
I
rocket.
saw too many people believing these like channelers that were hanging out with the Galactic Council. I saw them get their freaking hearts broken and their hopes crushed. So
Hell
anytime
yeah, I'm
somebody
going
makes a
insane.
prediction, that's the only time where I'll be like, I'm still gonna listen.
I'm going
to this.
insanely premium perfecto.
That you pull away but still have space.
Yeah, I'll still be there for you. Because if you think that's gonna happen, you need somebody there
Fucking
for
dude.
you, right?
Historically, this happens over and over. Going back to Heaven's Gate, right here, right now.
I'm the Grand Premio Sniper RPG, man.
And now we're all scattered to, well, there's
Shit.
still the not believer.
Right.
Or even the Mayan calendar. You know, I mean, this happens over to the doomsday prediction right now. This is not new. This goes back centuries.
Well, then people will say, well, like, oh, you know, you're just not on the right timeline. That's why it didn't happen. And I'm like, you're telling me that you're in some 5D heaven and you're on Facebook.
Right.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not. But I just saw so many people just let down in ways. where they
Fucking
just
Santa
decided-
Claus.
And I can't.
Everybody
It's like I
taste
get
Santa
this, like,
Claus.
mothering, big sister thing around
Me
people.
too.
You know, and if people are, you know, it's hard to see people go through that. So,
I'm
it's
trying,
like, you
I'm
know, like
trying
somebody saying
to
it happened, you just don't know it happened.
I'm
Treat
trying
Santa Claus with El Gravito cannon.
to walk the thin line between being an open-minded, curious person, at the same time be a healthy skeptic with a sense of diplomacy, and not tell people that they're full of shit to their face, but at the same time, I know what they're saying can't be real,
The fine line.
and it is, it's a totally, you know, it's a tightrope. It's hard to balance that, and I see it all the time. I've seen it in the 10 months since I discovered the online astrology community, I've seen it happen.
Holy
Times
shit.
already. Just in the last year, people have come in and said these things.
Killer Commando.
And, you know, I
Got him with the gravity cannon to the dome, son.
Mr. Negative, meaning at the same time, I, like you said, want to be motherly and protective of the community,
What? Hit him.
and want to tell people don't listen to this shit.
Easy with El Gravito,
You
señor.
know, this person's not well, this person's in it for attention.
You have to be there for them because if they are believing these world events are happening, or say for example, they think they're on the wrong timeline, like the rest of the world ascended and they got left behind. Are you kidding me? This person's gonna kill them. I know people that became suicidal because of that explanation. I'm not about messing with people's mental health in any way. And
No.
if you're an experiencer, I will hold space for you. If you think that you know the doomsday, I'll hold space for you. But I won't sit around and let
Yes,
people
I got 'em. Got
I won't
screwed,
let
dude.
these love and light people only say that
Thanks,
there's only
brother.
love and light because there's duality in the universe.
Of course.
You know, and I would love it to be love and light.
There's duality within the universe because of my rocket launcher.
I've seen too many people in pain to think that love and light's the only thing that's here, and that the extraterrestrials and the ETs and the interdimensionals are here outside of our hell. It's up to us. It's up to you individually to pull yourself out of the hell, unfortunately.
Exactly. And nature is beautiful, but it's also cruel.
Yeah, like the bears we talked about, right?
Beautiful rose bush, and it gets strangled by an ivy.
Yeah.
Strangle it. So nature is beautiful, and it's also cruel.
El Commando.
All right. So we're at about the hour mark, and we're going to start to wrap it up. I cannot thank you enough, Priscilla from the Quantum Witch Cafe, and also the book club, the Great Book Club. So the new book is Trinity
Yep.
by Paola Harris and John.
Oh, I left mine upstairs.
The last book was this one, Messages of Deception. By the way, Raelians, the Raelians, are you familiar with Raelians? Might be the only quote-unquote UFO cult that I've ever met anybody from.
Oh wow.
And they were actually really a lot of fun. They were very much a hidden.
El Gravito, señor.
Yeah.
I'll save that for another day.
No, I always joke that I'd be that girl. What was it, Independence Day, where she's on the roof with the sign, like, and gets blown up?
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Independence Day? I think it was Independence Day. Well, all these people gather on this building because the ships are over the city, and she's got this sign, and she's all happy, and like, then the lake blows up the building.
Oh,
But yeah, but I would still be there, guys. I'm sorry. I'd
take me with you.
Yeah.
All right, so tomorrow, guys, this is a big deal, man. Paola Harris. Paola Harris doesn't do a lot of shows.
Got him.
So that's a score, man. Good for you.
I'm trying not to be nervous about it. You know, I think because I looked up to her work so much, you
Yeah.
know, she's really like one of the people that paved the way, you know what I mean, for women in the research field and just the research of the subject in general. She's the first one to listen, you know, not the first one, but she's one of the first people to listen to people's experiences. You're like, yeah, you know, she was not going to gonna say, yeah, you're a hybrid, but she'll listen to you say
Right.
you're a hybrid and you accept it.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot to learn from Paola Harris. She's done tremendous work in this field. And tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, she's going to be on with Priscilla, the Quantum Witch Cafe. Fantastic. Thank you for being here, Priscilla. Thank you
Well,
for
thank you for
joining
having
me
me on.
on the Spaghetti Lee Show. And, yeah, just wrap it up. I have no graceful way to say goodbye except say goodbye. Try this outro with music. And I'll see you in the backstage. Guys, thanks a lot.
Fuck!
Thank you so much, everybody. Good seeing everybody.
Subscribe and like.
Just like this guy, buy this guy coffee.
Please like me.
Buy him coffee so he can actually read his book for book club next month.
Buy me beer. All right, dudes, here's the outro. Thanks for coming. Spaghetti Lee Show's future. I'll probably do a show on the future. Explain Spaghetti Lee Show's future. All right, thank you. And thank you.
Really, bringing the gold out. It's more for the sake of humanity to see
The guy looks so retarded rolling in here. That was retarded, bro.
There's a lot of gold at hand, and you're actually looking at it. People get golden eyeballs, and all of a sudden they start thinking about all the
Did you
things
say
they're gonna
cuddle
buy,
my balls?
how they get to keep as much as possible. And I'm just
Cuddle
all
my
about
balls,
that.
Priscilla.
Keep it all, have it all. And it's not about it at all.
Sec, nah. I don't think Spaghetti Lee said that.
And secondly, there's just so much.
Bro, I hit him right with an RPG. Okay, there we go.
I mean, why
Twice.
be greedy? And it's just innately inherent in people to be greedy because, you know, we're kind of conditioned that way. So everybody for themselves because nobody's helping anybody else.
I like this RPG. This is dope.
Well, and you've realized the true bigger picture of all this too, as you got involved in this. At first it's fun, it's like, oh, maybe we're gonna find some gold, we'll find some treasure, and I won't ever have to work or have a job again or whatever. But then when you come across some of this stuff like you have, and you
Shit,
like,
keep dropping my
you see things
RPG.
like I've seen, or you talk to people like I have, then suddenly you realize there's a bigger picture going on here because you're talking about the history of the earth, the history
Damn it,
of
drop my fucking
humanity,
RPG.
our own origins and everything as we know it, being completely covered up, being completely
El
hidden.
Cuevo! Oh my
And
god, dude,
sometimes
he just
even
ran me
by
over.
indigenous groups and people that claim ownership over them, and these big shadow creepy organizations.
You ran me over, dumbass.
Organizations that want to control it all and keep
Don't
it
you
all
look in your rear view mirror when you're
All
riding a
this-
VR vehicle?
There's this myth and fantasy.
So, yeah.
You see this stuff with yourself. You go out there and you get out from behind your computer and you go out and actually look at these locations for yourself and you follow the evidence and you go try to prove it true or not. It's like
Kill the El Commando, son.
It's my
Ooh, almost got him.
mind, right? It's completely
Motherfucker's
shifted
bouncing
your
all over the
reality.
place like fucking Commando Squad.
No, not at all.
Boom.
And we haven't even talked about.
Oh my God, Squidward's on us.
Squidward
Squidward El Commando! Squidward El Commando!
A week and a half ago. You know, what's the site that we worked on, the Montezuma treasure site?
Did you get Squidward yet? Is he dead? Is Ding Dong the Witch dead?
Arizona, New Mexico.
Looks like you got him. Oh shit, I got sniped with a 50 cal to the fucking... Holy shit. Oh my god, this kid fucking spawn killed by a 50 cal again. You fucker, goddamn it. Quit spawning me in the line of sight of that idiot. I'm gonna snipe that. I'm gonna snipe that asshole on the left. Yes, got him, fucker. Sniped him. Sniped him in the fucking head.
Turtles and all kinds of cool stuff. Led him literally about 5-6 miles off the grid. And
I love
when he got
esports.
out
This is the
to
best.
Location, it kind of stood out.
One of the
by
best sports,
itself,
dude.
and, the Coronado Trail kind of went all the way
More
around
fun than
it.
motocross.
He definitely missed it when he was coming through, but Martin found the location, and on this location was this giant thunderbird carved in the rock, overlooking the site, just the guardian of this site. I mean, this
Time to drink some more
this bird
Monster.
was carved out of solid granite.
And vitamin water.
That, you know, it stood about 30 feet tall, probably 40 foot wide, and 12 feet thick. And Martin, you know, he gets out to the location.
Stop
It's,
licking my lips.
roughly sitting around
Drink some
6,200 feet
Monster.
of elevation. And he knows he's on the right spot. He's like, this has got to be it. There's the Guardian Thunderbird. You know, he's in the spot. He's, just leaning back on the rock, taking it all in. It starts raining. It's just, rare in the desert. When it rains, it pours. And it doesn't pour very long, but this particular time it started pouring and really started picking up a lot of heavy rain. And he had just hiked 12 miles to get into the location, so he was pretty whooped. And as the water's picking up, it's starting to collect on the rock surface in little pools.
Cuervo, señor.
On the slope, and the little pools are turning into
Sí.
little gully ways, and that's all the water's coming together and kind of following a channel off the mountain.
Ooh, I shot Squidward the rocket. I'm gonna remember that.
After a while, it sounds like a waterfall. And he's like, well, I'm gonna follow that noise, and we'll see what this waterfall is. And he followed
I'm gonna remember that one.
corner down below him, and
I hear a fucking
there was a hole
C4,
in
dude.
the ground. It's about 25 inches round, and it looked like, kind of like a culvert. The water was just shooting off into this culvert.
I hear a
that
fucking
went
C4,
up in the
bruh.
ground. And you could hear the water dropping off, some distance.
I'm gonna close up our castle.
At the bottom. So he got
There we
down
go.
on his hands and knees with a pen light and climbed in there and shined the light down, and he said,
Is there a guy
the
up
whole
there?
thing was filled with gold bars.
Oh my god, there is.
Stacked up across the floor with Spanish armor and of all different types of precious metals and/or iron,
Got him.
rusted, leaning up against the wall. And when he shone his light to the right, there was, these 3 stone chairs at the end of the pile of gold that went into a tunnel. And he said that there was, 3 kings or 3 conquistadors sitting in the chairs that they had all their armor on. You could see the bones of their hands on the armrests of the chair. And that they had these stone boxes in their lap of some sort. Couldn't really see from his vantage point, but it was like a 30-foot drop to the floor. And it's 4 buckets outside, and he has no way to get down there, and if he did go down there, he'd have no way to get out. So he decides that he's going to have to leave it and come back another day.
Commando's in the cut.
He pulls himself out of this hole. The water is coming down still and wants to go in the hole.
Holy shit, that guy's shooting rockets. Watch out.
Body is covering the hole, so now he's just soaked. The water's building up behind him, and he decides
seems to be a good shot with a rocket, too.
He'll come back later, figure out a plan to get in there. And he works his way down the valley further, and all his washes are coming together, and now the creek is, what used to be a dry creek bed.
Sniping
He has to cross
Squidward's
over.
fucking
Gets
head
back
while he's
to
not
this
dying.
rock is now raging. Right? He knows he can't get past that. So he decides he's going to climb up the cliff face a little bit and kind of wait it out.
Shooting the fuck face in the head a whole bunch.
Above the thing, about 6 or 7 feet. And so he climbs up there and sits on this little ledge and covers himself up with a tarp. He said, a couple of hours, 3-4 hours later, the creek had already risen up to that point where it was going to wash him off the ledge. And he had no choice but to jump into the water to try to swim across, and he couldn't. He said once he jumped in the water, that was it. The current just took him. And he ended up 1.5 miles away, where it kind of dissipated out into the valley and spread out over a wider course in the alluvial fan, and he kind of dropped them off in the sand. But by that time, he was already, dislocated both of his hips, cracked a couple toes, and had, massive scrapes and bruises all over his body. It took him 3 days to climb, go from that location back to his truck. Literally, crawling. And they couldn't get back into the location for 1.5 years after that. He didn't trust too many people. I didn't know him that well at the time. And he entrusted his best friend to go up there and look for it. He gave him directions to get in there, and the guy went, and this guy could not find the hole to save his life. How could you not find a hole? It's literally off the face of the bird, like 75 feet down the hill. And it's
Damn
only
it,
gold.
Big Boy Nova.
The guy went back and forth.
God damn it, Big Boy, come here.
Did not find it. And he was, a pretty smart guy. He was a soldier.
Oh, you got him?
At Sands missile range. There was no slouch.
Second, I'm not even mad. I was just like,
That hole eluded him. And finally, Martin brought it to my team and my guys, and he told us
I
the
don't know,
story.
but
He said
I've been
that was
told.
fantastic and incredible. And
I got a big ass pole.
I believe him. He was never known to lie to me in the past, so I got an investor involved, and we took a helicopter and flew in there. and we wanted to see this place, and we were also jammed up and hyped up
Fuck.
about it. I mean, we went
Fuckington.
on, Thanksgiving, one of those Thanksgivings, maybe 2015, somewhere in there. And flew in on Thanksgiving, and it was like 8 inches of snow on the ground in that location. It's like 28 degrees outside. Freezing. So, maybe not the best time to go, but I went right to that location to where he said, and you could not, there was nothing there. There was no hole there. It was, like, the whole area was covered in like decomposed granite. So all the decomposed granite, little pebble pieces parts are all over like marbles. You gotta really be careful where you're stepping in there, especially when it's frozen over and icy in some spots. But we looked high and low for 2 days. But more importantly, the first night in there, there's myself and Martin.
What the
and
Arnold
team
Fuckington?
members at the time was about 4 more guys besides Martin and I. And we set up camp, and it's cold. It's like 28 degrees out. We're tent camping up there. And, we build a big campfire and have some dinner, and we're sitting around, and the next thing you know, this little orange orb of light, a fizzy ball, looked like a sun, like a little miniature sun, comes shooting across the sky and then stops about 2.5 miles out, straight in front of us to the southwest. And it's kind of hovering there, right across the top of this mountain range. From our perspective, it looks like it's maybe 800 or 1,000 feet up off the top of the mountain range directly across from us. And we're just watching it. It literally looks like a little sun. It's kind of like fizzing and popping, but nothing's ripping off it. It's just kind of like glowing in and out. And
Here's someone going down here, dude.
Colors like the sun, a little bit reds and oranges. And we're watching that.
Got 'em.
And then another one came. Another one comes up from the south and comes shooting across the horizon. Right.
Are you gonna be watching this?
It stops about a half a
You should
mile
close this
short of
door if you're gonna.
and
We'll
through
close
the
the door.
course of the next hour and a half or so, 9 of these things line up across the ridge over there, and they're just sitting there. And we're just in awe. We're like, holy crap, are we seeing this? Is this even real? And one, the first one was like, before the second one came, the first one blinked off, like just totally shut off. There was nothing there. And then it just turned back on. When the second
Oh, he
one
sniped
came,
me.
It just lit back up. Like,
Good
holy-
shot.
Holy crap. So, we watched that whole thing go on. The guys, 9 of them sat there on the horizon about a half mile apart for hours and hours and hours. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, I would say about midnight, the rest of the 4 guys went to sleep. They weren't really interested in it like Martin and I were. And around 2 in the morning, I couldn't take it anymore. It was cold and just wanted to get in my sleeping bag and get some rest. Martin sat out there for another half an hour, and they all gathered up behind themselves around 2:30 in the morning, about, from our perspective, very close together, and they all kind of shifted right along the horizon across the top of that ridge, and then they all banked a left-hand turn and disappeared over and into a valley, and that was that. Went to sleep. Somewhere in the middle of the night, though, I don't know what time it was, but I thought those guys were outside my tent, screwing with me, and they, were putting like an 8-inch flashlight beam like directly on the tent. So, the light coming through the tent and hitting my eyelids was so intense that, I felt like the morning sun breaking through, and I woke up and looked. It was still pitch black, and I just had this big white circle of light, shining on my tent directly up from me. And I'm in the mummy bag because it's cold. And I usually don't get in the mummy bag, so I couldn't figure out why my hands were in it. I was literally mummified in the bag, and I couldn't get my hands up enough out to even get to the zipper. And I was a little confused. So, but with that, the light backed away from the tent, and the whole area lit up like daylight out there. I'm still trying to get my arm out just to get out of the sleeping bag so I can open the tent to see what's going on. And while I'm futzing with that, the whole area is lit up nice and bright outside. It just went pitch black in a second. Like all of a sudden it was just pitch black, like someone threw a switch and it was dark again. And I barely had gotten my hand, one arm out, to even go for the tent zipper. And when everything went dark, I just sat there like kind of in my bag, looking around in the tent, like wondering what the hell's going on. And I figured out I just went to bed and just confronted him in the morning.
GG, son.
In the morning.
I got the most kills, 33 and 24.
Asked him which one was DNF. Trying to be funny. And
33
they-
kills, the
they go through it.
Grandmaster.
Martin saw the same exact
Recon,
thing.
yeah, son.
And those guys, proclaimed that it wasn't them and kind of let it go at that. That whole next day, we went out and looked for the treasure and looked for this open space that was non-existent. Where Martin said the hole was, I took him down there. He didn't really get around all that good, but we took him down to that location where he saw the hole and there was no hole there. There was just a...
No, it just starts with World War II and then it goes to all the
guns.
guns.
Mushroom cap
Just
of
at the
this
beginning.
decomposed granite, and whoever had filled that hole in had made this mushroom cap to fit over
Yeah,
it.
you can
It
also
looked
buy guns.
exactly like the rest of the rock around it. I mean, you really couldn't tell that there was a hole there. The only
You
reason
gotta
I knew
re-ready
it,
up.
Martin said it, and I was able to get my pickaxe underneath the edge of the end of the cap where it actually went out onto the natural bedrock. We had this little lip there. And I was able to chip a piece off of there. And I'm like, wow, there is a cap here. He's right. We didn't have the tools like maybe 4 feet across and 3 feet tall of a plug that was in there. So we knew we were going to have to come back with some tools to try to get it.
Alright.
The very next day, or that very next evening, I should say, after we came back to camp and eat campfire and have some dinner and some tea, some coffee, and sitting around, the fizzy light ball came back. It came flying from behind us and shot over our head probably from about 800 feet up. And it wasn't very big. I mean, from our
Oh,
perspective,
dude, that's
it looked like the
badass.
size
You
of
use a grenade to get up there or what?
maybe a Volkswagen or so, maybe about that size.
Oh.
And it shot past us and went straight out, back towards, going north.
Discombobulation
North
grenade.
northwest, and from
Is that what this
point,
is?
it
Is this
takes
it?
a hard turn to the right, almost a 90-degree, to the left.
What thing?
A 90-degree turn to the south, and started going that way. And just at that moment when it made the
Oh,
turn,
okay.
we started hearing a jet, the noises of a jet plane.
Oh,
Jet.
sweet, okay.
I'm not a big person that knows a lot about jets, but one of the other guys. they
Oh,
said
shit, I'm
it was
gonna get
a
killed, fuck.
F-15 fighter plane.
Cover me.
2 F-15 fighter
Cover
planes
me.
came swooping in and started chasing this thing all
Get 'em?
over the place, all around.
I'm gonna try it now.
That thing ran circles.
Ah, fuck, there's another. God damn it.
For about 45 minutes, we got this most awesome show of our lifetimes. This thing would bang, come flying overhead, and then they'd go straight up at a 90-degree corner, go straight up in the air, and the jet would try to do that, going after it, and pull back on the stick, and the back end of the plane would slide into the forward position as he tried to go up. And the afterburner
Oh, look at all these
came
cool
just,
skins. Holy
making
shit.
this amazing noise and
Oh my gosh,
Just an
look at
amazing
this.
sight to see. And this went on, like I said, for
I
about
found the
45
skins,
minutes,
dude,
and then
thanks. Holy shit, dude, this is dope.
All of a sudden started
Big
dropping,
Master
like,
Chief.
what looks, in the beginning
Yeah,
it looked like
dude.
flares dropping out the back end. These little white
Oh shit, I'm
round
jumping on.
balls of light started dropping out
Yo.
the back end of this thing. The two
Good look, son,
split
now
off.
Master
They
Chief.
were, basically right behind each other.
With the
following this
suppressor,
thing, and they
laser,
split off
grip.
to either side.
Get the armor vest and the
These
helmet.
white things started falling out the backside. And I thought, again, we thought they were flares, but about 4 or 5
Now
of
it's time
them
to
fell
shoot
out.
shit up.
And then they all gathered up behind the mother and then took off to the south with the jets. They all went that way, and then it got totally quiet. And we all looked at each other like, wow, that was something else. Tried to pull off a couple pictures. I was able to get some pictures out of this stuff. And, the pictures, the thing is moving around so fast that there's like blurs in the pictures. They look like horseshoes in there, but they're all different colors, which is weird. And the sky behind it, all the stars were totally still.
Throw a grenade
So
out.
I knew I had captured it because, they're even just looking like streaks of light in the film. But you could individually pick out every single star in the picture in the background. So I'm like, wow, I got something on there, but does it prove anything? Not really. It just proves that there's something on there.
Right. So what do you think, John? How can these like works of light or like balls of intelligent light they get called like UFOs and UAPs and stuff are always associated with these ancient locations or these indigenous locations or treasure caches, for lack of a better term. like you go to these sites, I go to these petroglyph sites, these ancient locations, and they're always tied in with these kinds of experiences and stories. Like, so do you think this is like extraterrestrial phenomenon, or something more closer to home and tied into our own
The hell?
ancient
Fucking
history?
shower.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that, you know, these sites, like this Montezuma site, you know, for all that's been done there, you know, in our ancient past, we just don't know. Maybe they were coexisting with us, with humans at the time, and something, you know, stopped that from,
Did you get 'em?
you know, continuing on into the future. You know, there's so many things that it could possibly be. I mean, I've seen, you know, Martin has sent me multiple pictures from his house. He has lots of orbs that show up and just kind of hang out at his house and around him. Even a lot of my pictures that I take of Martin, he's got orbs over his head. And these orbs are, you know, not always the same orb. You know, there's blue ones and there's some yellow ones and green ones, and but in the interior of the orb, sometimes they're shaped different inside of the actual circle that is like a hazy light that you can see. The inside sometimes look like a Pac-Man, like, you know, kind of, you know, a chunk of it kind of missing inside of it, or even like a football shape on the inside of these things. And, you know, my feeling about these orbs is that I think it's the conscious energy of our past deceased folks that are kind of watching us all the time. You know, they always say that, you know,
I don't know.
when we expire from this container, you know, our energy is, you know, around in that fourth dimension, the fifth dimension.
If you put a flashlight,
Maybe, you know,
if you put a flashlight into one of those paint skins, if you put a flashlight into one of those paint skins, then you can make like a smoke screen type of flashlight thing, like blocks everybody's view.
Waiting for their opportunity to re-inhabit a new container when their time comes. But it's really hard to say exactly what they are. They certainly aren't, you know, my feeling is if F-15 fighter jets are chasing after them, and they are certainly intelligently controlled, I don't think that they're American or that they were built on this planet in any way, shape, or form. And why they're, you know, protecting this location, I would imagine because of the amount of wealth that's stored at this location, it means something to them. There is a very curious niche of there's a carved out niche on this location. Now, where the bird is, about, I don't know, 200
There you go.
yards
The kid got
in
that
front
thing.
of the bird, there's like two valleys, and then
Flashlight.
there's
See
a
it?
rock
Huge.
formation that looks like a ginormous turtle. And it's probably, I don't know, maybe 150 feet long, and, you know, with the head and its turtle shell back, and, you know, no feet at all, just the head sticking out, and but just below the head, on the downhill side of this elevation, if you go there, there's this hexagon hole, pretty big hole, about 3.5 feet across per se, and probably at least that deep, that is angled in such a way towards the sky that there's places for candles in there, 5 different little ledges where you could see the soot on ceiling in there, that somebody would put little flyers on these 5 little spots in this niche hole. And that, you know, if you stand with your back at the niche hole and look out for where it is, you can't see it from the ground anymore. There's a hill right in front of
Yeah,
you
hit off
across
the gravity
canyon that
canyon.
would block it at that
Alright, I need
elevation to
to
be
get
seen
some
from
help.
the road or somewhere far away. This niche shows up to the sky. Why? Why would that be there? Why is it showing up to the sky? There would be nobody there to see that light coming from that location in that niche except for somebody in the sky. And it does point in the direction of the San Carlo Indian Reservation, which also has had, you know, major sites and sightings of different types of extraterrestrial craft or UFOs or whatever you want to call it. There's, you know, some strangeness going on in that location, and this place, you know, looks right at it. I don't think that's a coincidence. It's all connected together somehow, and I'm certainly sure that they're protecting that location from being pillaged so far.
I agree. I think the little trips and research that I've been doing over on my Carl Crusher channel, where I go out and adventure around, is kind of showing the same evidence and everything, and you've actually been confirming it and having the phenomenon appear and different things. It's so fascinating. So this stuff is out there. I mean, these tunnel systems are there, these cave systems are there, and along with it comes a totally different sense of the supernatural or the spirit world, or this connection to our past. But you also mentioned that there might be this connection to other worlds or extraterrestrials in contact with these civilizations and what they were doing. So have you come across any stories or seen yourself anything that would indicate like a relic that would be considered extraterrestrial or exotic, not from this world in a sense?
There's sites that I'm going after that's in the Philippines that supposedly have pieces of spacecraft that were taken by the Germans, that they were back engineering the technology before the war. They knew that the war was coming closing in on them as well, on the Germany side. So they took that material and they stored it in a bank in Singapore, which ultimately was sacked by the Japanese. And some of that material ended up in one of these locations in the Philippines, which is on my bucket list of things to do to get there. There's not, it's really tough to talk about this for me, but I had an encounter on that mountain, and Martin also thinks that he was also included in this encounter, which is highly possible. But that night that light showed up on the tent and then lit up the whole area, that everything went black. There's one thing that still bothers me until this day.
Plug in my phone, make sure it doesn't die.
I never get in the mummy bag mummified. My arms never go in the bag all the way in. I never zip that bag up to the point where it's only, I am stuck in the bag with my face sticking out, and that's it. So that's a little confusing to me how I got in the bag so tighted with the zipper all the way up around my neck and the Velcro closed over the zipper and my hands at my sides. It's almost impossible to do just getting into that thing. I'm sure people do it, but it's not the way I sleep in the bag. So that was the first thing. It's I have a tough time, talking about this because every time in the past that I've ever told any person that I trusted or just thought that that I needed to kind of get it out there, I couldn't really understand what was going on, but it has not brought me any good thing at all. Not that I ever told somebody because I wanted some kind of gain, or I just wanted a better understanding and I wanted their personal opinion as being my friends for my whole life.
Yeah.
They didn't give me their opinion. They more so gave me the cold shoulder like I was crazy. And, to this day, I don't have those friends anymore because they think I'm nuts. So you gotta be careful, how you approach these subjects. But that evening, before I actually went to bed, the last thing I remember doing was going to the bathroom. And hence, yes, people go out camping, they have to go to the bathroom, to the real life. And I had a bucket buddy, just basically a compound bucket that has a toilet seat and special bags that go inside it that you can do your business and then dig a hole and you bury the bag, it's biodegradable and everything's good. And at least you're not squatting over a tree trunk somewhere or on a cactus. So I was out in the front of my tent and down the rock face a little further at a 180-degree view of the surroundings, and
Fuck, you got me. God dang it.
This light, this
You open up the window.
people call it Tic Tac. I don't see it as a Tic Tac. It did not look like a Tic Tac. It looked like I was looking broadside of this craft of some sort. And it, from where my position is, I'm higher up above where the bird is in elevation, and the bird is down the hill from me about 300 yards. And out in front of the bird is, this undulating, decomposed granite ground that Martin walked down and went around the corner in front of it, behind some tree that was there to find that hole. And that's in my view from where I'm sitting, literally. At one point, the light comes up over the top of the hillside that's directly behind it. It comes up very slowly, and it's not really lit up. It's kind of like the reflection of the moon is reflecting on it, but it's not reflecting. It's like a flat metallic surface that doesn't have like real reflectivity, but I can see the outline of it as it's coming up over the top of the hill, and I'm just looking at it and staring at it like in kind of disbelief, because I didn't really know whether it was actually there or not. And maybe it was just my eyes playing tricks on me, but it caught like right over in front of the bird, and then it actually had a slight glow to it, and it was just sitting there about, I don't know, maybe 50 or 75 feet off the ground at that point. And now I'm like really kind of staring at it, and almost in disbelief of my eyes if this is real. With that, a light comes out from underneath it that's, skinny at the top, and, a triangle shaped of light comes out of it, but the pointy part is at the top, and, the bottom's wide, and it's a bright white, bluish light that kind of, it's so brightly intense in its being that I can't see through the light. I can't see the rocks behind it. It's just this big bright light. Light comes out, and then there's a tall person and a short person standing underneath it in the light. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, wait a second, is this like a tree? I'm seeing things. I'm not, and I'm scared. Don't think that I'm not. I hate to admit that, but it's the truth. And I was really starting to like literally shake. I was like really getting fearful. I was like, oh my God, is this really happening? And I'm trying to finish up my business, no less, on the toilet. So I'm trying to do that, hurry, and get cleaned up and do whatever. And now I'm standing up, and I've got the bucket in my hand, and I'm hiding behind this edge of this pine, this little fir pine tree, this juniper bush. And I'm kind of peeking out around the corner, like seeing what's going on. And I look, and this thing is still there in this craft. There's a skinny, tall woman in white clothes, and there's a short woman or shorter being next to her. I didn't know their gender at that point. And I'm watching, I'm staring like intently at this location, and it was weird because every time I blinked my eyes, the short person was 50 feet closer to me. And the other person stayed there under the light of this craft, and the short one kept coming closer. And the more I strained to keep my eyes open, the closer the person got. Every time I blinked, she was like 50 feet closer, until she was 3 feet in front of me. And I'm looking at her, I'm looking at it at this point in time, and she's wearing like a white Carhartt type suit, like a one-piece jumpsuit that's made out of white canvas of some sort, and it's got a hood on it, and there's like, I can see the fur or something around the edge of the hood. I can see her facial features with black hair with a bob haircut. She didn't have giant almond eyes or whatever. I mean, she had more of an Asian style features of face, and she had black clothes on, and she got right up to me, and I'm staring at her, and she speaks out, in my head. I hear her very, very clearly. She said, what do you want, and what are you doing here, and what do you want? And but she didn't speak it with her mouth, and I heard her very clearly, and I'm, the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, we're not here to take it all, which was true. I wasn't there to take all this treasure. I was just, there for the enjoyment of being there and to really see this location. Taking all the treasure was the farthest thing from my mind, and that's the only words that came out of my mouth. We're not here to take it all. And while I said that, I'm like thinking of myself, like, why did you say that? What, did you actually? She didn't speak, so what are you saying? And I'm staring at her, and she's pulling her glove off, and she's like kind of like slowly pulling her black glove off of her hand, and my hand is going to shake her hand without me wanting to do that. Like my hand is already kind of going into this handshake position, and she's pulling her glove off to shake my hand. And she does shake my hand, and with that, after she shakes my hand, I'm just standing there looking dumbfounded and stupid. And with that, she just turned
Look
away
how
from
long
me,
kids
she
do their
started
deep
walking
voice
back
changes.
towards that craft. And a couple of blinks later, she was under the craft with the skinny person, and the next thing I know, the light turns out, and the craft just didn't take off. The rocket ship had just slowly moved away from
Sorry, I
me.
did when I was trying to join a SWAT thing when I was like 10 years old.
And I didn't know whether it was a dream or not. I thought, like, did that really happen? Even to this day, I still scratch my head, like, was that real? Did it really happen? Or did it not? Like, it's not something you can just make up out of nowhere. And again, I've had this conversation with Barton. He seems to think that something very similar happened to him that same night that we saw the light in the tent, and he just can't put his
Grab a
finger on
perk
it.
30, kid. So,
So I.
ooh, did I headshot him with a fucking rocket?
I'm still on the fence about the whole
With
thing.
a rocket.
It wasn't until like a year and a half later, I was at a conference looking to explain how we changed the
funny, I
software
heard a kid
of
one
that
time out
EM
here, he's like,
machine to a bunch of military folks who were
30s.
going to try to use that thing for UXO detection. And there was a EM detector to detect these UXOs that were all over the place, and some of them were ceramic and not metal, so they didn't have a metal signature that a metal detector could pick up, but the EM could pick up the difference in the electromagnetics coming through the device that would, kind of make it stand out away from the surrounding ground. And you could tell that it was some kind of anomaly that didn't belong there. Probably by the shape, you probably would pick up that it might have been an unexploded
Man,
ordnance.
this is intense. I should take a little break. Eat some
Well,
food.
giving that, teaching these people or explaining how that equipment works,
And take out this tank.
that woman walked into the room with the tall woman in a white lab
El
coat.
Cuervo!
And,
El
I
Cuervo!
was in a conference room with about 15 different people, all different calibers of military people and
El Cuervo!
people with all the jazz on their jackets and stuff, and doctors in their white coats and whatever. I'm just telling them about how this equipment is going to help them solve this problem. And in the door walked those two ladies, and the short lady was that lady that I saw in the field. And now I'm like, all the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and I've got like the chill going on, and I'm stuttering because I can't get the words out anymore, because now I'm just like totally
Just
shocked
stay back,
to
don't get
see
shot by
this
them.
woman in this room.
Wait for them to come to us,
And
then we'll
with
fuck them up.
The tall lady, reaches into her pocket and puts this crystal on the table that
I'm gonna try to
is
rocket
the
launcher him
size
from up
of-
here.
halfway between the size of a baseball and a golf ball, and it looks like a quartz crystal that has some terminations on it, and it just doesn't look. Looks like a crystal.
Damn it.
It's rock. And she puts it on the table. I look down at it and I continue my conversation with these people.
Go a little bit forward.
I look over at her and she looks at me and
Yep.
she gives me like a feeling of, don't
hopefully
worry, it's
that was-
okay kind of feeling. And I actually hear the
Oh,
words in my
shit.
head, but
Still clipping it.
I don't hear them with
Alright.
my ears, so now I'm even more scared, a little more scared, a little
Oh,
more
shit.
uneasy about the whole thing.
It's sideways now.
I didn't really
Oh, there you
know
go.
what was happening. I felt
I'm
like
a little,
just
I'll
something
put it
was
up now.
just totally off. And I couldn't wait to
it's
get
right there
out.
on the ground.
And so I finished up pretty quickly, and pretty much got out of there as fast as I could. The person that had taken me to this meeting was
Bet, son.
basically saying goodbye to these people
Oh,
on the way out the door. And the door opens, I'm about to step through it, and the
Commando
woman,
squad,
the tall woman,
operate.
puts her hand over the top of that crystal, and a 3D holographic projection of a little dude's
I like to
tank
shoot
top
rockets
out
off
of
the
purple.
ATV.
And
So
now
fun.
I'm
You
like
like drive
really
forward and
intrigued.
backward
I
and
look
shoot
down
rockets at the
the
same
edge
time.
of the door as my friend is shoving me through it.
Stay on our
Come
base
on.
and use it.
And, I'm like, why would you do that?
Just leave
Why
that-
would you
just leave-
even
just
put it
leave
on
the-
table and then activate it to let me see it before I left. That just doesn't make any sense. And I'm nobody special. I don't have a military clearance. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm nobody. I'm me. You know, I've had a lot of experiences in the field and a lot of strange things have happened, but I don't feel like, you know, I should be singled out amongst everybody.
Oh my God, I got him, dude. That was so perfect. Yes.
Credibility that a lot of other people have. And I still wonder to this day, like, what was the reason? What is the reason that this
Wait, I'm just gonna be chilling right here.
Um,
Oh shit.
I wish I had an answer for you.
Yes.
Did they deliver that kind of message? I mean, this girl appeared twice, and I gotta be honest with you, I've been reading these books by an author called Philip K. Dick, and also I've been reading John Peel's writings as well. He wrote like the Mothman Prophecies and a bunch of those. But they also, both of these guys had encounters with a short female with dark hair that just would appear at their doorstep and deliver some kind of a message in sometimes telepathically, or they would get a random phone call from this woman's voice, or they would just turn a corner and there she would
That's
be.
the commando
So,
shit,
like,
son. Oh damn it.
So it doesn't surprise me that you're among friends sharing that story here. Like I talk to a lot of people, you know, people from the Border Patrol, people that work in all different walks of life and for the government itself, and like, you know, they have these experiences too, and they have strange encounters. But so I believe you. Did anybody else in the room see this girl, or was it just something that you feel like what was just shown to you and they walked in just within your perception, or?
My friend that
Commando
was there,
shits activate.
he was privy to it. He saw the holographic projection as well. He saw the woman, and he just said, I said, does that woman, do you know who that woman is, or does she ring a bell, or you know this person's name? She's like, no, I never met her before. I never saw her before. And it wasn't until it bothered. It was
Commando shits activate. Boom.
It was very unsettling. For a long time, I struggled with, what does this mean? Like, why am I seeing this? Like, why did I see that? Why did that woman come from out of that craft and then show up in this location at this particular moment in time, telepathically or somehow or another, talk to me that I actually, it was like hearing her in my head, like I heard her through my ears, but she did not speak. And it wasn't until like 6 or 7 months down the street, and I was really struggling with, like, what does this all mean? I mean, what is the real purpose of the point of me knowing this information? And I would, come out at nighttime and talk to the sky out loud in my backyard. I'd literally be having conversations with the stars and God.
Conversation with the stars and the
and
the commander.
Why? What is it that you want me to know? And at that moment in time, when I said, I give up. I give up. I'm not going to pursue this any longer. I'm just, if you had something to tell me and you didn't tell me, I'm tired
God is
of
the commander.
struggling with this within myself. I got a life.
The God is the commander, my brother.
Depressing. And I think, maybe I am losing my mind. And with that, she came back. She came. A light showed up in the sky, blinked twice over the top of my house. It looked like a star, and I caught it out of my peripheral vision, and I saw this blink.
The God is the
And,
commander.
Again, here I am talking to the stars at night. I'm like, what is the point? And, just at that
I
very
gotta stop
moment
playing
in
this
time, she
retard
said,
idiot. Who the fuck is
take
am I
all the
listening to?
information that you want to know and learn it to the nth degree in each compartment, and the truth will expose itself to you.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the hell that meant either.
Bro, my face is a galaxy. Commander vibe. Damn, son, I pulled the gravity beam out on that sucker. Commander vibe. Oh, hell no. That was an awesome technique, dude. Gravity boosting him in the center and then shooting him. That was good, man. Damn it, dude. Fucking 50 cal. Commander Vine. I win 47 and 23. Good shit. Got a lot of kills. All right, time to take a little break. Take another little break. Time for another little break. Pause the broadcasting.
Retreat, every animal out there.
Pause this. I'll be back in a little bit.
Cardboard